Hi, I'm Catherine Diorio, and welcome to Check Please, the show where regular people from all over Chicago recommend and review their favorite restaurants. So this is how the show works. Every week we have 3 guests. Each recommends his or her favorite spot, and the other 2 go check them out and tell us what they think. This week, small business owner Joel Traeger says that the big flavors and farm-to-fork freshness always keep him coming back to his favorite spot. But librarian Anita Shankar says that you should book your table at her selection for its combination of craft beer and unexpectedly awesome food. Up first, membership director Gina Chacho says that you don't have to be on an exclusive list to join her at her selection. She says for a place that will delight all of your senses, roll on down to River Road and stop in at Tuscano's.
Weekends are lively. Friday and Saturday nights here, we have live entertainment. We start off with a piano bar and music. At 9:30, we have live bands. People come in to have fun. They come for a drink, they come for dinner, and they come for dancing after. Everything on our menu is incredible. Our owners, Pete and Sam, try to reduce the menu every now and then. They don't know what to take off because everybody we ask, what's your favorite? It's always something different.
It's a good feeling for me, seeing people happy. I wanted to say that they have the great experience from the service, the food, and the bar.
The people are fun. Everybody can see everybody. Everybody looks at everyone, talks across the bar, sees live entertainment. They can see the restaurant area. It's a friendly place.
Gina, you say Tuscano's is the place to be. Tell us why you chose it.
The reason I chose Tuscano's is I grew up in a very traditional Italian family. My mom was born in Italy, came to the States, right? And so Tuscano's has the flavors of my childhood. I grew up on fresh pasta. I grew up on homemade spaghetti sauce, chicken marsala, homemade meatballs. I didn't grow up on peanut butter and jelly and tuna noodle casserole. So walking into Tuscano's was like walking back into my childhood.
So what kind of food are we going to see on the menu there?
You're going to see some traditional Italian appetizers. The calamari is by far some of the best I've ever had.
Okay.
And of course, fresh pastas, veal, chicken, and some steak dishes as well.
Well, Anita, so you tell us about your trip out to Tuscano's.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a trek. So I live in the city, and it was right after work, so the traffic isn't great going out to Tuscano's. So when we got there was a piano player, and he was playing some Frank Sinatra, and that was nice. And to start, we got the stuffed peppers, which were great, and they had a special baked goat cheese with olive tapenade. It was really good. And then our mains came, and I was a little disappointed with the main. We got the lasagna, the chicken parmesan, the filet sliders, and I got the spinach and cheese ravioli. But actually they brought out a ricotta ravioli, so I didn't send it back because I thought the little green pieces were spinach, but they were parsley. Yeah. And then when the main act came on, it seemed like it was a guy kind of singing to karaoke music, so it was a little, it was just a little odd. But it seemed like everyone else there was having a really great time. My group felt a little out of place. Everyone else kind of seemed like regulars. It kind of seemed like they knew everybody. I don't know, it just wasn't the experience I guess I expected. That's
Well,
kind
Joe,
of my experience.
did you have a karaoke singer there?
No, I didn't. Actually, I did not. I had an entertainer. In fact, we made reservations, and the table we sat at was literally 5 feet from the entertainer. To me, it was like a blast from the past. I mean, back into the 80s, 70s. The piano player that they have there that plays before the entertainer was outstanding.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Oh, how I want you so sad.
And then the entertainer came on, and then you could literally dance while he was singing. The greatest thing that happened to me was I didn't step my wife's toes, which is a good thing. The food was excellent. I was pleasantly surprised. I had Italian sausage, which was outstanding, and my wife had shrimp risotto, which was
had that too.
real.
It
was really good, and the wine was wonderful. My wife kept looking at me and laughing, and we just had a really good time. I had a good time. I would have never gone there, but I would go back. That's how good it was.
It used to be Giannotti's, which was a very, very popular Italian restaurant. When I was a kid, that was, if your boyfriend took you to Giannotti's, it was like, he was a keeper, you know? All the girls would brag about it, my boyfriend took me to Giannotti's, and so it was very, very popular. So what's interesting, actually, is that the man who owns the building, he had leased it to the Giannotti family. So now he is actually the owner, and they assembled the original kitchen staff, and that is now who's there. So it's kind of this continuation, of the kind of history of that restaurant. Well, it sounds like it's a great place for a date. But Gina, who else would you bring there?
We bring family and friends there. In fact, we brought one of our girlfriends who had never been there with us before, and she had never been to an Italian wedding. So I said, Donna, this is your introduction to Italian weddings. You know, the hair, the jewelry, the flammable clothing, the kisses, and I think we probably were there the same night. People were going from table to table. I mean, it just felt comfortable.
Is it the same on weekends as weekdays?
We've been there a few times during the week, and it's a little less crowded. Saturday nights, depending on the entertainment, we were just there this past Saturday night, and it was packed. There was not a seat in the house.
So, Anita, when you were there, what would you say, can you describe the atmosphere a little bit for you? Because we heard it kind of sounds like an Italian wedding on Saturday night, so when you were over there.
I don't know, the atmosphere was a little bit, the decor was a little dated to me. It seemed like they hadn't decorated since the 90s probably, which is fine because, you know, people there go there because it feels comfortable to them. But it seemed like everyone else was having fun. It seemed like other people were really into the music. It just didn't seem like our scene, I guess. The service I thought was really good. I thought the waiter was polite and attentive. I like how he brought food out in the little carts, just because I haven't seen that in forever.
Little old school.
So I liked that. That was fun. And the server, we got the house wine, which was amazing and super affordable, which is always great.
I had the Bellini martini on Saturday night, and if it wasn't for the fact my mother-in-law was there, I would have had more. That's how good they were.
Well, Gina, you chose Tuscano's. Sum it up for us.
Tuscano's is a great evening out with good food, good drinks, and good company.
Anita?
Yeah, Tuscano's seemed like a fun place. It seemed like a place for regulars. Definitely a seasoned crowd, I guess.
And Joe?
Great Italian food, probably the best I've had in a long, long time. A lot of fun. I think people that want to go and have a good time dancing, whatever, it was wonderful. I had a great time.
You can sample the zuppa di mare and more at Tuscano's, 4926 North River Road in Schiller Park, 847-678-2800. Open for lunch and dinner Monday through Friday, and dinner only on weekends. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $35. Even though Anita Shankar will travel far and wide for craft beer and creative food, she says that one of the best spots in town is right in her own neighborhood. And that's why she says the next time you're in Wicker Park, you should live large at SmallBar.
So we opened in 2004, and the idea at the time was wide variety of beer. Craft beer wasn't even really a thing yet. People were still talking about microbrews. And as our beer list got better, craft beer became more of a vibrant thing, more quality, more interesting products. I started to feel like we needed to take our menu to the same place. We brought in Justin to kind of break it all down and build it back from scratch.
One of the things that really helps us feel like we've succeeded is when we run into those guests that really only think of Small Bar Division as a drinking establishment, and then they've become wrangled into a table with a menu in front of them, and then they eat, and they actually, for lack of a better term, they have their wig blown back, and they're really excited about the simplicity of the craft and the quality of it at the same time. So when that happens, it's definitely a score up on the board for us.
We all put a lot of work into the whole experience you get here, and to know that even with just one person, we've really rung the bell and brought it home for them. That's a great feeling.
Anita, you say everyone should hop on over to SmallBar. Tell us why you chose it.
Obviously, it's one of the best places in Chicago to go for craft beer, and I'm a huge fan of craft beer. I mean, where else can you get, a stout from Japan and a Belgian pale ale made by monks? Not many places. So I used to go there for the beer, and then I saw someone ordering food, and I'd be like, "Ooh, that looks good." So I started eating the food a couple of years ago, and it matches the beer. It's so good. It's a small menu, not a lot of things on it, but it's very thoughtful and well curated, and everything on it is seasonal and fresh. I mean, even if you want to go in for just a pint of beer, you could get the bar snacks. They have very authentic, gastropubby appetizers like Scotch egg, biscuits. Very English, but also very, pub food.
So Gina, when you went to SmallBar, what did you have there?
We started with the cheddar drop biscuits, and we had the mussels.
Okay.
And I have to tell you, I was disappointed in the mussels.
Okay.
Being an Italian girl, I'm very critical on my mussels, and the broth just didn't have any flavor and didn't look very appetizing. I then for dinner had the sweet pea risotto, which was outstanding. One of the best risotto dishes I've ever had. And the guests that were with me had the fish and chips, which I tried, were great. And then also the double cheeseburger. So I got a little sample of that.
Double cheeseburger.
Outstanding. Great burgers, nice and juicy, little bacon on there. It was great. It was great.
The fries too, they serve with a great aioli. That's awesome. I always finish the bucket and have to ask for more.
Yes, the aioli is awesome. Really tasty. But I do have to tell you, I was so impressed with the beer menu. It took forever for me to decide what I wanted, and then when I decided what I wanted, they didn't have it. It was such a letdown. But our server, she was outstanding and gave me a great recommendation, and I loved it.
They're all really knowledgeable too, and they'll let you sample beers if you're afraid of getting a whole pint. So even if you're not sure what you want, because the menu can be a little overwhelming, you can definitely ask a server and they'll let you sample things, and they'll kind of guide you in the right direction.
Phil McFarland, the owner, he's actually a Cicerone, which is basically like a beer sommelier. Phil said, I want the food to match what I'm doing with my bar. And Justin White came in 2011, and he had been at Bristol, and he had trained under Sean McLean, who was from Spring, Green Zebra. So he does he's very committed to sustainability, seasonality, and so you really started to see that in the menu. So Joel, when you went there, was this what you expected food-wise in a bar?
No, well, reading about it, yes. I saw who the chef was.
Okay.
But I was still, it was real. I mean, I was expecting, a small bar, I was expecting bar food. But again, it was really, really good. I mean, I thought the mussels were outstanding. I mean, I completely opposite.
Maybe you had
them on a bad night. But they were, the broth was wonderful. In fact, the broth was so good, we asked for bread. After which they don't
Sop
put
it up.
to sop it up. I had Italian sausage, but I never had it this way. This was like, it wasn't grilled, it wasn't baked, it was almost like cooked, and it was in a sauce, and it was really good. My son had the fish and chips, and then we had a butterscotch creme brulee, which was outstanding.
So what do you think about the crowd?
Younger crowd, but it didn't bother me. I mean, that whole neighborhood there is absolutely, I mean, it's a great place. If people think about Division Street, oh my God, Division Street, no. I mean, you could walk on it. I parked my car 3 blocks away. And there's boutiques and there's other restaurants, and it's safe. I mean, it's a safe place to go. I thought it was. I had a great time. It was a lot of fun.
The night I was there, I was the oldest person in the bar.
I'm sure I was. I'm sure I was the oldest person there.
That's funny. You guys switched. I felt the youngest.
I'm sure I was the oldest person there, but I didn't. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
Well, Anita, how would you describe the atmosphere in SmallBar?
I mean, it's my neighborhood bar. I live around the corner, so I go there all the time. I'm always really comfortable there. I think it's cozy. I think the interior is done really well.
cool.
It's really cool.
it's
it's
very
dark
retro.
wood,
Yeah.
really
Right. It's
retro.
really cool.
All the bottles on the back of the
Yeah.
bar
The bar
are really
itself
cool.
is beautiful.
Yeah, the bar
It
is
It's
really pretty.
wonderful. Yeah, it's an oak bar, and
And it lives up to its name. It's small, it's cozy, you
Right.
kind of feel at home, or at least I do. And people watch on Division Street, which is always fun for me to do.
we actually sat at the open windows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the windows
and in
open
fact,
up.
the people that were sitting across from us at the patio, they had their dog there.
Yeah.
And then, and so I was kidding around with the guy. I said, "Dog eat mussels?" No.
Juanita, you recommended SmallBar. Sum it up for us.
I'd say go there for the craft beer, but you'll stay there for the food, also for the craft beer.
Gina, sum it up for us.
If you're a craft beer lover, that is the absolute place to be.
And Joel?
I think the scene was one thing that would be craft beer, obviously, but I thought the food was outstanding. I mean, I would definitely recommend going there for the food.
Great. You can try the bites and beer at SmallBar, 2049 West Division, 773-772-2727. Open for lunch and dinner every day and also brunch on weekends. Reservations are accepted and the average tab per person without drinks is $18. Joel Traeger loves to recommend places where the food is the star of the show. That's one of the reasons that he says that you should make your way to Lincoln Avenue and sample the creative talents of Chef Sean Sanders at Browntrout.
The name brown trout actually refers to the sustainability of a brown trout. It's a fish that's usually caught very well by a fly fisherman who tries very hard. So the idea here is that, brown trout will always be sustainable and we'll always use local and we'll always keep doing it the same way. They're going to get a local meal. They're going to get something that's crafted by us. We do everything in-house. So we make our own bread, we make our own charcuterie, we butcher our own whole animals, whole fish. We try to keep all the control that we have within this restaurant, within these doors. Sometimes this job can be really stressful, but the fun of it is always presenting that dish to the guest and watching them enjoy it. That for me really does make my heart smile. That's why I'm a chef, that's why I cook.
Joel, you say Chef Sanders and Browntrout do it right. Tell us why you chose it.
Sustainable food. He's big on sustainable food. Very fresh, very innovative. I've been there many times, and the menu constantly changes, and it's just a wonderful place to go.
Great. What are we going to expect to see in there? Give us some menu items. What are your
well,
favorites? You go there a lot.
The trout is outstanding. I mean, we've had mussels. The mussels are very, very good. I have a dear friend who loves cheeses, and he has a really incredible cheese plate, which is I'm not a cheese eater, but this was happening very good. We also ordered olives, which he grows himself, and the olives were wonderful. Risotto, halibut. I mean,
it's like, how do I name the whole menu?
It's funny because they have the menu organized by land, sea,
exactly.
air.
Right.
That was really cool.
We were there for brunch for the first time. which I've never been to brunch for, and I had grilled eggs that were outstanding.
So Chef Sean Sanders, he went to New Zealand on his honeymoon,
Right.
and he saw how everyone in New Zealand lived and said, wow, it's so sustainable here. I want to bring this back to Chicago. And it's funny because on his honeymoon, he actually caught a brown trout, hence the name of the restaurant, and had this amazing meal that they just kind of made with stuff from the garden, and he said, we have to bring this back. So with food being the focus, Anita, what would you say the atmosphere is like?
Actually, it was very casual, very relaxed. We sat outside because it was it was a really nice night out. Actually, we went on a BYOB night, so even better. So we brought our own beer, we brought our own wine, and the oysters were on special, so we got a bunch of those. The trout sliders, which we didn't know what to expect with, were amazing. They were so good. Again, the summer poutines, amazing. We got the mac and cheese too, which was super rich, super cheesy, and super buttery, just the way mac and cheese should be. Yeah, just everything I tried there was really, really good. And right after I went there, my friends were asking me about it, and I was like, I recommended it to everyone that I saw afterwards. You got to go to this restaurant. I never would have found it if it weren't for the show. You got to try it.
We started with a bunch of appetizers. We had the poutine, which was outstanding.
So
the poutine was outstanding. We had the heirloom tomatoes, which just melted in your mouth. They were delectable. And one thing that I really loved is the use of fresh herbs. He had fresh herbs in every dish, which is, I love that. I love that. For my entree, I had the mussels, which were outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And then I had a little bowl of the pho noodles, and they were really good as well. I thought the presentation was very minimalist. The food is the showcase, and so there isn't a lot of other things on the plate because he really wants you to focus on his creations. I thought the presentation was very artistic and minimalist.
What can we expect there?
You know, think Pottery Barn catalog. We were a little disappointed with the atmosphere. It was very dark. We couldn't read the menu. We had to ask them to turn the lights up so we could read the menu. But it was very comfortable. We were there for a couple hours on a Saturday night and had a great time.
It seemed like a great place to bring a date to, really intimate inside, a little dimmer. I think they had some of those communal tables too.
Right.
So
Just you kind of have your choice, you know, to have the communal table in the middle, and because some people don't like that, but some people love it.
Well,
I mean, I'm a chatter, I like it.
Which is nice to say it's going to be a communal table. You mind it if someone's going to sit next to you.
Right.
And if you do, then you just say, well, we'll wait, or otherwise just sit down, which I think is great. I just like the fact that when the first time I went there, when he came out and he talked to my wife and I for at least 15 minutes and just told us about everything and told him what he wanted to accomplish. And as the years have gone by, because I was there when he first opened, the years have gone by, he's accomplishing what he told us. And it's really, and he's just a nice, personable guy, and his food is wonderful. It's all sustainable. Even some of the beers that he has, because you're a beer lover. And my wife had almost like a spritzer, and it was really good.
The group that we went with are not drinkers, and I had ordered sun tea, which they make on the roof. Cool, wonderful. But when the bill came, I didn't realize I was paying $3.50 for each sun tea. So that was a little bit of a surprise. 30% of our bill were for non-alcoholic beverages. So not that I'm being cheap, it was just, was expecting, to drink sun tea and not pay $20 for it.
So, overall, what would you say? Is it a good bang for your buck?
Yeah, it's a good bang for the buck, Catherine.
Minus the sun tea?
Minus the sun tea. Absolutely.
Jill, you recommended Browntrout. Sum it up for us.
Conversation friendly, fresh food, great service, excellent restaurant.
Great. Anita, sum it up.
I agree. Fresh, sustainable food, really good, unexpectedly, really great.
And Gina, give us your
Loved the fresh food from the garden. Great conversation place, great place to go with friends.
You can taste the sustainable cuisine at Browntrout, 4111 North Lincoln Avenue, 773-472-4111. Open for dinner Wednesday through Sunday and brunch also on Sundays. Reservations are accepted and the average tab per person without drinks is $40. So on this week's show, we feature Tuscano's in Schiller Park, SmallBar in Wicker Park, and Browntrout in North Center. Let's recap what our guests had to say. First, we rode to River Road and checked out Tuscano's. Gina recommends it because the food and atmosphere bring her back to her childhood. Joel loved everything from the Italian dishes to the live entertainment and can't wait to go back. Anita thought the food was hit and miss and felt a little out of place. Then we stopped in at SmallBar on Division. Anita recommends it for the thoughtful cuisine and large craft beer menu. Gina enjoyed her overall experience and would suggest it to any beer lover. Joel thought the food was outstanding and had a great time. Lastly, we landed on Lincoln Avenue and tried out Browntrout. Joel recommends it for an ever-changing menu full of fresh choices. Gina loved the use of fresh herbs and thought it was a great place to go with friends. Anita said the atmosphere was relaxing and the food was unexpectedly awesome. We've had a wonderful time this week. I want to thank my guests, Gina Chacho, Anita Shankar, and Joel Traeger. Join us next week for 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please. I'm Catherine DiOrio, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.